Yes, people. By now, you should know what time it is. Welcome to another episode of Elephant in the Room. This week, we are at episode 24. Episode 24, people. We getting up there. This thing has been going on for close to 2.5 to 3 months now. Uh, just like I always do at this time, that would none of that be possible if I didn't know I had supporters, people interested in my opinion in this platform, period. You know what I mean? So before I go on, I will continue to do this every week. I want to give you guys a special shout out and let you guys know that, your support for this show, your support for me does not go unnoticed, and I will never, because I can never take you guys for granted, ever. Before we get into these topics, I want to, as I always do at this time, let you guys know about my latest project, the Gold Tape. It is available right now across all DSPs. It is an absolute masterpiece, if I must say so myself, and I'm not just saying that because it's me. But you could be the judge of it for yourself. It can be streamed everywhere. Music can be heard, sold, and distributed. You know what I mean? So anywhere you listen to music to, whether it's on YouTube Music, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Pandora, wherever, it's everywhere you can get your hands on music. We do have a few topics for the day, but before I go into any of them, I want to give you guys an apology in advance. I'm a little under the weather. You probably can hear it in my voice, but just like I told you guys when I first started to do this thing, I'm gonna do my best to give you guys content each and every week. Just to stay true to my word. You know what I mean? Because that's who I am as a person. And to be honest with you, this is fun. This is fun. Nothing about this seems like work, and it's stuff that I do on an everyday basis, but I just don't talk to myself, right? Like I'll talk with, friends or family, you know what I mean? And I'll have similar discussions about these type of topics that, I talk about on this show. So in fact, that was the reason why I came up with this show, because a few people that I've had conversations with would advise me, hey man, you should think about doing a show. You should think about creating some type of platform that you can engage in conversation with people, because the way you think it's not the normal way to think a lot of times. You know what I mean? And after you explain yourself, people will understand where you're coming from. So it's like, it's something I thought about for a while. It was advice that I was given maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, and I just started this platform only about 2 or 3 months ago. So, and that's just some inspiration for anybody out there who has maybe been sitting on a goal, sitting on a dream, or sitting on an idea. Go for it. Go for it, man. You know what I mean? See what happens. The worst thing that can happen is you continue living the life you were living before this, before you start, went on to try to obtain your goals or your dreams. You know what I mean? So, this it's never too late to start something that you've had an idea about for however long you have. With that being said, again, we're gonna open it up with a few topics. Um, the first topic we got for today is 50 Cent. Um, 50 Cent has been, I'm not gonna say in the news because it hasn't been that popular, but it's something that happened. Uh, it was a conversation that was had over the past week of would Trump actually pardon Diddy if he was to get convicted. Again, for anybody who has been keeping up with this platform, you know that this is not a Trump platform. This is not a political platform, and I try my best to like not even report on any of that clown shit that's going on in the Oval Office. You know what I mean? But this pertains to hip hop, something I do care dearly about. Because 50 Cent is a hip hop artist. So Trump basically said he was open to the idea of it if he, if Diddy got treated unfairly in his trial. And 50 Cent, as he normally does, he makes a post. I don't know if it was Instagram, X, or what I still call Twitter. I'm not sure which platform it was, but he basically indicated that, oh no, I'm going to do my best to make sure Trump doesn't help you. So in attempts to doing that, 50 Cent had brought up a clip where I guess Diddy was speaking not too highly of Trump. And, it's well documented, it's well known, and it's greatly deserved. You shouldn't speak highly of that individual. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not going to get into that. So 50 Cent decided to bring that old clip back up in terms of, hey, is this the guy you saying that you gonna help? This, and I'm paraphrasing, of course. He didn't say that verbatim, but that's what he was basically that was his point of bringing up that old clip, to try to, hey, man, this guy been talking bad about you this whole entire time. This is the guy you gonna help? And it's like, man, 50, that's clown shit, bro. That's clown shit. Yeah, and 50 Cent is one of them rappers who actually, he's a genuine one. You know what I mean? The things he's been saying on record, the things he's been saying in interviews, he's pretty much about. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys that, will show up in a crisis. He's one of those guys who is willing to back up his lyrics and stand on the things that he has been talking about in music for the past however many years. So, he's one of those guys. So I want to preference my opinion by saying that, but that don't matter to me if you exuding clown shit. That is absolutely clown shit. Anytime you're, especially from the walk of life he comes from, that's breaking every rule, right? Now, we all know, I'm an elephant in the room, we all know street shit, street rules, they're not important now. And for great reason, and a lot of times they don't deserve to be. But like I touched on many weeks ago on this show, the reason why street rules are so important, even in guys such as myself who are not considered to be street guys, the difference between street rules and men rules, they're very similar, man. It's not much of a difference. Street rules and men rules are very similar. The only difference is minus the bullshit. It is minus the bullshit. You know what I mean? An example of that is, hey, man, if you dealing with somebody, if I'm standing on a bus stop and you see me, you ride by me and you decide to give me a ride and we get pulled over and you got pistols in the car, don't expect me to abide by the street code when I was just catching the bus home from work. You could have just rolled by me, beeped the horn, and kept going. Now, at the same time, I could have also declined a ride. But why would I decline a ride when my friend is offering to take me home? Now, had I known you had pistols in this car, I might have would have declined. But I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So if that situation occurs, the honorable thing to do is for the guy who gun it is to own up to it. But I mean, what's the chances of that, right? What's the chances of, somebody owning up to something? You know what I mean? In that scenario, you know what I mean? But you putting your homeboy who has been living on a very straight arrow, has been living on a straight line. You're putting him in a really fucked up position. And that alone is fucked up. And there's no honor and integrity in that alone. So, the reason why I brought that scenario up is because, that's like street rules would be in that scenario. Yo, you shut your mouth, I shut my mouth, and they got to prove who gun it is. No, that's the bullshit part. The men part is, yo, them my pistols. He ain't had nothing to do with that. Them mine. You know what I mean? Your man don't even supposed to have the chance to tell on you. You supposed to own up to that shit. Or whatever your story may be. Yo, it ain't either one of ours. Yo, I was using my man card. Whatever the case may be. Do not put your homie. Make sure your homie who you picked up, who you know is living on the straight line, make sure he is cleared of all involvement in that situation. So that's why I said that the street rules is all, nigga, you supposed to hush your mouth. No, but the men rules is that dude who gun it is, the dude who car you got into, he's supposed to own up to that. So it's very similar, but it's just minus the bullshit. So the walk of life 50 come from, man, you're not supposed to do what he just did. And like, people think it's funny. People, you know what I mean? They just, I don't know. It's just like, it's cool to do clown shit. Now, again, I'm telling you, 50, that's some clown shit you did, bruh. That's some clown ass shit you did, bruh. And again, let that man business be that man business. If you want to make fun of his situation, that's clown shit too. But hey, have at it. But once you start doing shit that can potentially harm him and keep him in prison, when your whole walk of life was based on, yo, I'm not going to do anything to help keep a person in prison, that's going against your ethics. And that is clown shit to me. You know what I mean? It's a reason. It's the biggest reason for the separation of generations, right? Like, certain things that's cool in this generation just wasn't cool back then. You know what I mean? Like, my little cousin had, he had sent me a clip of like a Kevin Gates quote. And as soon as I seen who it was, I didn't even press play. I just decided to reply to him and say, listen, don't send me nothing that clown ass dude say. Don't send me nothing of him. I don't, dude. Yes. Kevin Gates. Yes. Rapper. Dude is a complete clown to me. And clowns can't tell me nothing. Clowns can't tell me my name, James. Go over there and stop talking to me. And I'm going to do my very best to not pay you any attention. See, nowadays is, oh man, it's not the messenger, it's what they saying. For me, it is the messenger. Can't no clown give me no advice. Now, if the next person comes along and they say the same thing that person said, I'm going to take to that person before that clown. I'm not even going to allow a clown to even get his opinion, advice, observation off to me. But that's the walk of life I come from. And that's the reason why I think, in my humble opinion, for anybody who knows me, to tell you, like, for the most part, like, I'm a real chill. I'm a real chill dude. I'm a vibe. And I'm very, very happy and blessed in life. And a good reason for that is because I try my best to keep away from the bullshit. I try my best to not allow nothing that I know will get me bent out of shape into my life. Life will it's already hard. It's already gonna give you shit that you're going to be forced to deal with. So why add on to my plate by adding on some shit that won't have a positive effect on me? Why add that shit on to my plate? I just won't do it. I try my best to like do away with, bullshit and distractions. So, when he sent me that, it's like, yo, I don't listen to clown shit. They may do. Because it's like, yo, okay, he might have did this shit or said that shit, but he's speaking real shit right there. That's good for you. However you convey the message, that's your business. I'm just letting you know I don't convey messages through clown dudes, through clown individuals, individuals that I don't think too fond of. I don't do that. Another one of my homies did the same thing with a Charleston White. You don't send me nothing of those individuals. I'm of a certain ilk I don't think they represent. And that's cool. They can have a space over there and they're successful. I'm not saying that they're not, but the integrity in me and the principles in me and the morals in me will not even allow that type of shit to even be introduced into my life, because I'm of a certain ilk that I stand 10 toes and I am very proud about. So getting back to this 50 Cent thing, it's like, yo, yeah, this post may go viral. This post may get you a lot of laughs. It may get you a lot of engagement. But just at the end of the day, you going against how you were raised. And that will always, and you're going against how you were raised when you don't even have to. Sometimes not everything we were raised on was right either. But the shit that was right, we have to apply that to our lives. Or we don't, but it would be honorable to do so. And, 50 from the walk of life we all know him to come from, that shit he's doing is considered clown shit. It just is. You know what I mean? And 50 been doing a lot of clown shit for a while now. Let's just call it what it is. He's been doing clown shit for a while. So, and this is just the latest chapter in that book. The Diddy trial, I'm not going to beat y'all to death with that. Y'all know it's still going forward. They having new witnesses come forward. So, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Still ongoing. There's still news to cover. But again, I told y'all basically what I believe up until this point, and it has not changed. I don't believe they prove racketeering, even sex trafficking. I don't believe they prove that. But my mind can be changed. There's still multiple weeks left in it, and I'm not gonna, unless some groundbreaking shit comes out about the trial, I'm gonna try to preserve my judgment on the trial until at least the end of the trial. You know what I mean? The end of both arguments from both the prosecution and the defense. With that being said, like I said, with that 50 thing, it's clown shit. But Trump thinking about pardoning Diddy, I don't have no thought on that whatsoever. So, there that is with that. I just really don't have no interest in anything Trump does or say. Staying on hip hop though, something that has my attention and I feel very strongly about, Jim Jones taking shots at Pusha T. For those who don't know, this is the hip hop segment of this episode. Anybody who knows me know how I feel about Push. Pusha T is my second favorite rapper of all time, behind Jay-Z. Him and his twin brother, for those of you who don't know who that is, the song that they are most known for is Grindin'. If you ever heard that record, you at least heard Pusha T, you heard his work. You may have seen him before. And Jim Jones is another rapper who I like. I like Jim Jones. I like Jim Jones a lot. You know what I mean? Jim Jones, and both of these artists are just like 50 Cent. They are artists of a certain ilk that I respect. You know what I mean? That, they're very genuine to their lyrics and they're being as truthful as they possibly can with their lyrics, at least in my eyes. But those two guys have been taking shots. Well, Jim Jones took a shot at Pusha T about a year ago in defense of Drake. Drake is somebody who's played chess out here, who has invited Dipset to his shows, He's emulated them on plenty of occasions. So in respects to that, that's, they try to speak highly of Drake, or they try to speak lowly of his opponents, which is, rather it be Kendrick, rather it be, Push, Joel Santana, who was another affiliate of Jim Jones, and Dipset, who Drake shows respect for. He tried to say, Joel Santana tried to say Euphoria was a bedtime story that didn't age well. Jim Jones saying about Pusha T, nobody knows his records. No girls ever wanted to, you know, no girls ever looked at him in a sexual way. No girls ever wanted to fuck him. No dudes never wanted to be like him. And, even though that's another conversation for another day, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I don't know about the girl part, but I know about the dude part. I disagree with that wholeheartedly, but that's another conversation for another day. So in regards to that, Jim Jones said that in I don't even think it was an interview. I just think it was like an IG live where he expressed those feelings about Push. And in regards to that, at the Louis Vuitton show, that the Clips are a rap group of Pusha T and his brother No Malice, who I absolutely love. They were modeling in a Louis Vuitton show, which is, Pharrell has been, partnering up with Louis Vuitton and has been coming out with his own, creation of, his version of the Louis Vuitton brand. So the Clips were modeling in a Louis Vuitton show, and as they were modeling, unreleased Clips record was playing, and Pusha T's, no, I think the whole song played, but what got news was Pusha T's verse, and that was because a lot of people alluded to him taking shots at Jim Jones. So that's the origin of this story, like where it all came from. So now the Clips are coming out with a new album, I believe July 16th, which is about like a month and a half away, and I can't wait for it. So while they are on a press run for it, they have interviews with GQ. They just been in everybody's faces as of late. It's a promo run. It's getting people anticipated and ready for the album. GQ asked them about Pusha T, about various things, Drake, and how he feels about the suing thing. And along the line of questioning, Jim Jones came up, and Pusha T gave a response to, I forget what the question was, I forget what the response was, but it has also been rumored that Pusha T has a Jim Jones diss record on the album. So because of that, and because of his latest remarks, which I don't know and I apologize for, this is one of them things that happened earlier in the week, and I just forgot what his remarks were. But Jim Jones decided to tweet about Push. And he said, Pusha T don't want no smoke. Keep talking about drugs that we never seen. And here inserts my opinion of this latest back and forth that they have. Jim, like I told you, I just gave you your flowers, and I'm sorry for this, y'all. I apologize. But Jim, I gave you my opinion of you. I love you. I love you as an artist. I love you as from what I can see as an individual. You a stand-up dude. You somebody who, when rapping or in an interview, when you tell a person this and that to the third, I believe you. You know what I mean? But when you say keep rapping about drugs we never seen, I believe that's a prisoner in the moment for you. Both of you guys are veterans in the game. Both of you guys have been in this game and in the streets when the streets exuded more integrity in principles and morals. You guys both came from the street, being in Jim Jones and Pusha T. Y'all came from the streets where y'all came from the era where it wasn't even cool to take pictures. You notice how now, you'll get dressed, you'll prop the camera up, you'll pose in your best cool look. You'll try to catch yourself at the coolest moment and record yourself or be in somebody else's camera. Back in these days that you guys came from, it wasn't even cool to take pictures, let alone to show people or to have people know about drugs that you sold. Why would we see any type of drugs that he sold? Why? We ain't never seen no drugs you sold. We ain't never seen you pop no pistols that you say you popped. But me, for one, when you talk to me, when you talk to the general public in your records, I believe you. Just because I'm a pretty good judge of character. I'm really good at that. I've been wrong before though. I've been wrong, but I'm a pretty good judge of character. And Jim Jones, when you speak, I don't give a damn if I see it or not. I believe you. Just because the certain ilk that you speak in, it's just like, yo, only a person that has really been through that can tell me that. And again, when you say, oh, keep rapping about drugs we never seen, that's more for today, right? Like, if in today's world, if you don't record it and put it out, it never happened. I could have whooped your ass 5 minutes ago, but if I ain't got it recorded and I don't post it, it never happened. And you can run around acting like it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of this subject, like, Jim, why would we see any drugs Push talked about he sold? Especially the drugs he talked about selling. He talked about selling bricks. We not seeing that. How we gonna see? Why we gonna see? Like, so I just believe Jim Jones got caught up in the prisoner of the moment mindset where, like, yo, if you didn't post it, if we didn't see it, if it wasn't captured on camera, it never happened. But y'all came from the streets where y'all came from the era where you're never supposed to capture the moments. Why? But we in a world now where people will rob a bank and they'll go on TikTok or IG Live or Facebook Live or Snapchat, and they'll show off the money that they just robbed 20 minutes ago. Now, we call them stupid, but yet we call a person that didn't capture nothing a liar or an exaggerator or, a clown. It's just like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But Jim, you know better than that. Jim Jones is somebody that I think highly of, and artist who I love. He had one of those moments where, suffering from prisoner in the moment syndrome. You know what I mean? So all respects to both parties involved. Push Clips, they have an interview on GQ. Go check it out. Their album with the Clips, him and his brother No Malice, like I referred to earlier, it is coming out July 16th. I, for one, cannot wait for it. And that will be one of those projects I would wake up in the middle of my sleep to listen to. Speaking of that, Lil Wayne has just released the Carter 6 today. Lil Wayne is somebody who I view in very high regards, a rapper who I love, and I will check out his project. I just have yet to be able to do so. Wayne, I'm sorry about that. But people been running it up. I've been hearing mixed reviews about it. So I'm an artist myself. So I'm going to review it myself. You know what I mean? So one thing I am going to do is review albums, but it hasn't been really too many albums that has came out since I've been doing this that's, that I've been familiar enough with to talk about. So probably next week I'll have a quick review of the Carter 6. But for everybody out there that didn't know that, yes, his project released at midnight today. Go check that out if you are a Lil Wayne fan or hip hop fan. I think it'll be worth the wait. I think it'll be worth your time, rather. Moving on from that, staying in hip hop. This is mostly a hip hop show, in case you don't know. I'm sorry to let you know a half hour in. But just for the next topic, Joe Budden has been in some hot water. Joe Budden is absolutely amazing podcaster. Somebody who I am a super fan of as a podcaster. He used to be a rapper too. He was nice. I wasn't a fan of him though. I've told you guys before. I think they he's talked about himself as a rapper way too dramatically. Like somebody I just don't think was that ill. But he was nice though. He was nice. Don't get me wrong. He was not garbage. You know what I mean? He just wasn't that type of artist to be talking the way he talks today. But I am a super fan of him as a podcaster though. And he was in some hot water for not reporting on like pretty much any negative Roc Nation stories. Roc Nation is a company that is owned by my personal favorite artist in the world, Jay-Z. They are a management company. They everything. They got sports agency. They got their hands in the middle of everything. So Joe Budden, it's been whispered about for years because of people feel like because of Joe Budden's relationship with Jay-Z, he picks and chooses when to talk about anything that's going on with Jay-Z or anything Jay-Z is involved with. He chooses to talk about that carefully. And if it's a negative story coming out about Jay-Z or Roc Nation or anything, he's quiet on it or non-existent on it, just doesn't talk about it. And the story that, to keep you guys up on some news, the story that has come out about Roc Nation is Desiree Perez, who holds a high position in the company. I don't want to say what her position is because I don't want to be wrong, but she holds a very, very high position in the company, and she works very closely with Jay-Z. She was just in the news recently because she had put her daughter into a psychiatric center. Basically, like, I don't know if it's therapy or rehab. I don't know what it is because I guess Desiree Perez's daughter, who name I do not have, she has been coming forward and speaking up on things that Roc Nation may be involved with in terms of the Tory Lanez case, like I touched on last week, and a lot of things like, basically indicating that Roc Nation is doing a lot of slimy shit behind closed doors. So people been getting on Joe Budden because they say he talks about everything in the world, but he refuses to talk about that. My take on it, I apologize in advance again, guys. My opinion on that is, so what? So what? I told you guys eons ago, many episodes ago, this was probably maybe within my first 10 episodes, I told you guys, yo, that keep the same energy shit, I don't always have to keep the same energy. If me and my man is arguing and our argument is so intense to where he may say some things he don't mean, man, fuck you. The fuck out my face. You know how we debate. You know how we argue. he's going to get more leeway versus a stranger telling me fuck me and get the fuck out of this face. I'm going to take it totally different. You know what I mean? I told you guys that keep the same energy shit is not always applicable to every single subject or topic or individual or situation you may come across. So in terms of this Joe Budden being in hot water because of that, number one, first and foremost, he does do that. But if you are a fan of Joe Budden or at least familiar enough with his platform, he tells you that, like, hey, man, listen, that man company, the man who runs that company, I have respect for. He did the same thing with Puff. Now, Puff, it was maybe a little different because I believe at one point in time, he was either partners with Puff, with his podcast, or he was in talks to be in partnership with Puff. You know what I mean? In terms of the podcast deals he had going on. But sometimes when you got respect for people, I'm going to choose to not rush to judgment. I am going to choose to do that. It's human fucking nature, y'all. Yes, I think men who hit women are pieces of shit. But if I find out my homeboy whooped his girl's ass, before I rush to judge him, I am going to get his side of the story first. Because while it is always wrong to put your hands on anyone, whether man or woman, in certain situations, you can understand it. You can absolutely understand it. So that's why I say, like, I'm not going to exude the same energy I have for somebody I have respect for versus somebody I may not have respect for or somebody I may not have a relationship for. As long as I'm reporting on you respectfully and as accurately as I possibly can, that's all you can ask from somebody. So in terms of anybody thinking, oh, he shook a Jay-Z, he's scared of Jay-Z, he don't want to speak negatively of him. Like, yo, bro, listen, it's a such thing as integrity out here. And when you exude that, it may look wrong in y'all eyes because y'all don't go by integrity. Y'all don't go by principles. And just because I have an opinion or a feeling or observation about this particular topic doesn't mean I have to have the same feeling about everything that may be similar to this one. No, I think rapists are pieces of shit. I think sex traffickers are pieces of shit and need to be in prison for the rest of their natural born life. But now, if somebody is accusing you of being a sex trafficker and raping you, i.e. Puff Diddy, or a friend of mine who I just don't see that being in his character, before I rush to judgment, I'm going to have questions and I'm going to be paying close attention to your situation versus somebody whose story that may come out, I don't know, I don't give a fuck about, or this and that to the third. I'm going to report on it as accurately as I possibly can. But due to the fact I don't have a relationship with you, you know, I may rush to judgment with you. But somebody I'm cool with, somebody I like, somebody I fuck with, somebody I respect, before I rush to judgment with them, I'm gonna have questions. I'm going to preserve consideration for them. And that's just human nature. We do that with everybody, man. You know what I mean? So again, people are going to continue to be on Joe Budden's back because that's what is the cool thing to do as of right now. But me, for one, so what? If that man don't want to talk about anything negative with Jay-Z on his platform, that's his right. That's his right. And somebody I respect and have admiration for, I'm going to handle them with different gloves than the strangers as well. I'm going to handle them differently. I am. It's just, I'm being as honest as I could be with you. You know what I mean? So, again, Joe Budden is a big platform, huge platform, and, gets a lot of attention for a lot of different reasons, but people on his ass about not, you know, like speaking on that type of shit. You know what I mean? And even with like the Tory Lanez thing, like I told y'all about last week, like, yo, I can honestly understand why people think Rock Nation has a hand in keeping him in prison. I can get it. I understand it. It don't mean I agree, because I don't. But again, because of the admiration and the respect I have for Jay-Z, who I have never met, but I have been following my entire life, I'm going to preserve judgment on him until I see proof. If I don't see proof, if I don't hear about proof, I'm not going to believe it. And that's because he's like that in my book, to the point where it's like, nah, it's just certain things you hear about people you just don't believe. You know what I mean? Like when Kobe got accused of rape, I just didn't believe that. Zion Williamson being accused of rape, I just don't believe that. I don't know these people, but just based on the feeling I get, the intuition I get by paying attention to their story, it's like, nah, like I just don't believe it. Now, I could be wrong, but I just don't think that I am wrong. So, big shout out to all parties involved, Joe Budden, Rock Nation, the whole team over there. Big shouts out to y'all, and, it'll run its course. It will run its course. Again, to stay on hip hop, top five. Top five is I don't know what he is, but he's an affiliate of Drake's. But he has been in the news. I guess it's excuse me. He's one of these affiliates with Drake that, he's one of his hitters, right? One of the guys who, because of him, you don't want to fuck with this team. He'll, he's a shooter. He said it himself. I, generally don't make these type of statements about certain people, but this isn't like new news that I'm breaking. He telling you himself he's a shooter. He was in the news for cutting off an ankle monitor, a federal ankle monitor. Yeah, just cut it off. He just had a camera in front of him, and somebody was holding the camera, and he proceeded to cut the ankle monitor off. Now, for anybody who knows about federal cases or has been on an ankle monitor themselves, no, that's the number one rule you don't do. You don't even try to cut that motherfucker off, let alone being successful at it. You know what I mean? So, come to find out, the feds out there in Canada had a news conference about this particular incident and displayed to the world that he was never on an ankle monitor. So that means he went and purchased a fake ankle monitor, put it on, only to cut it off. This is a grown man doing that. I'm guessing you do that to try to... I don't even know if it's funny. Is it? It may be to some of you. I don't know. I don't know. But you go out of your way to get an ankle monitor, to put it on, only to cut it off in front of a camera to look cool, funny, gangster. Clown shit. And dude been involved in clown. I mean, dude is, I don't pay attention enough to him for me to call him a clown, but he's been involved in a lot of clown shit since his name has been, recognizable. You know what I mean? But this latest thing, it's just, it's not even a deep dive on it. That is ridiculously clown shit and don't even deserve coverage, but it's worthy enough to talk about because it's getting, I'm not going to say a lot of attention, but it's getting enough attention to for it to be known like, yo, bro, like, but that's good that that happened, right? Because that's just another confirmation of, yo, man, don't believe everything you see on this shit. Don't believe that shit, y'all. Like, and I'm pretty much shit. I'm talking to the young and old people because some old people some older people get influenced by what they see on these platforms. A lot of this shit be fake, man. A lot of it be fake. A lot of it is an illusion. Just don't believe that shit. But as far as this particular, this particular topic, that's clown shit, bro. I don't even know what else to say about that. That is, you are an absolute clown for that. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to put Drake in that, even though I know a lot of people will say, oh man, corny people hang around corny people. So it's like, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, that was an absolute clown move. And for them to have a press conference and call you out on that, that's the hilarious part. But other than that, bruh, do better. Do better, try something else, man. You know what I mean? So, that's all I got for that. I'm sorry, I have really no deep dive to it. It's just clown shit. And I don't know. It's clown shit. The last topic we're going to talk about is Kobe Bryant's wife shutting down rumors of her being pregnant. Now, this might be a lengthy one because the rumors are not true. She said it herself. She's not pregnant. This and that to the third. So, that lady has exuded nothing but, just royalty from the jump. Even from the time Kobe got accused of rape in 2007, she stayed absolutely solid with that man and his passing. She has done nothing but exude greatness, positivity, and is the epitome of strength in an individual. Because losing a husband and a daughter that suddenly, that horrifically, and to still maintain the wherewithal that she has, for her to still have the wherewithal that she has, is absolutely amazing to see. It's amazing to see. So the reason why I say it's a lengthy one, because I was, watching the Joe Budden podcast, and the rumors is true. So, I mean, the rumors are false. So, that we don't even got a deep dive on that. But it was like, they had a discussion where it was like, hey, man, that is one of them females. We don't ever want to see her move on. Her, Lauren London, like, we don't ever want to see them move on. And I'm here to tell you that is absolutely positively true. As unfair as it may be, man, like, now, both of those individuals, Lauren London and Vanessa Bryant, they're past the point of judgment. Like, now, if you heard of either one of those individuals being in a relationship with somebody a year after the passing, maybe even 2, we would judge. We would judge. I would be on Elephant in the Room, episode whatever, talking about it. But both of those deaths happened quite some time ago, and if they decide to move on, that is absolutely their business. And both of those women are so great that I don't even deserve a right to say a negative thing about either one of them. They are great women. But per being selfish a little bit, that like you don't ever want to see them move on. And if somehow, some way they ever see this clip, they ever see this podcast, it's not because the reason why we hold on to that so dearly is because of how how high regards we put you. Like y'all up here, and we don't think nobody else is even worthy enough to even have your love and attention and affection as your previous spouse. But at the same time, it ain't none of our damn business. So then, also they were also talking about like, hey, if something was ever to happen to you, I see a lot of people getting flack for, if something ever happened to you and your wife or your girlfriend start dating your best friend or your brother, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Not the whole podcast didn't say it, but it was a couple individuals on that podcast that was saying that. And it's like, well, you would want the best for your significant other, and if your best friend or your brother is a good dude, you should be for that. Prisoner in the moment. This is just an example of integrity just being non-existent nowadays. Let me tell you something. I have a very close friend who is married to someone that I've known forever, and my best friend, my closest friends have known forever. And all of us looked at her in an attractive way at some point. Not all of us wanted to get with her. No, we just looked at her in an attractive way. Yo, she bad. And the second that friend let it be known to us that he was trying to pursue her and he was successful at it, left. That whole, yo, she bad, yo, man, damn, she ain't fucking with nobody on the team, yo, man, tell such and such I said what up. All that shit went out the window, bruh. The second you dealing with my homie, I no longer look at you in that way. I don't give a damn how bad you are. I just don't look at you in that way. You're now a family member. And that was before they got married. I seen the way my man reacted to her. So it was like, yo, like, you really like shorty. It's over for that. I'm no longer looking at you in that light anymore. And none of us did. But that's integrity. That's integrity. That ain't even supposed to be an option. Now, we live in a real world where I don't give a fuck what I say. It'd be an option for a lot of people. But if you have integrity, if you live by a code of ethics, that's one of the top ones, because the most vicious wars fought, especially in the street, it was based off a woman. And women, not to blame y'all not to blame for that, but that just goes to show how important you guys are in our lives. A lot of wars that was fought, a lot of beefs, a lot of, men are in jail, are in prison for a long period of time and it had something to do with a woman. So in terms of, so they was like, yo, do you have a list of people that is off limits if something was to ever happen to you? We all do. And though that list doesn't even need to be spoken about. And then they went into the stage, and they went into this thing of, oh, are you telling women what to do with their body because you're trying to tell a woman who they can and can't sleep with? They went deep into it, and it was interesting. It was interesting to hear a different perspective of that. But I mean, no, you don't know family members, no best friends. You can even fuck with a friend, just not a best friend. Stay away from my best man. Stay away, stay away from my brothers. Stay away from family members. Now, if you want to fuck with somebody that I was cool with, that knew me, go ahead. But just stay away from the best friends, y'all. Stay away from the family members, the brothers, the cousins. Stay away from that. So it was interesting. So I just wanted to bring that up. Like, it's interesting to see how people think nowadays, because that wasn't even talked about. Like, you didn't even feel comfortable saying that out loud. Like, yo, wouldn't you want your wife, if something was to happen to you, wouldn't you want her to be able to deal with another good human being and your best friend or your brother? Or it was a time you ain't even feel that comfortable saying no shit like that. But times has changed drastically. But my stance on that: best friends, close cousins, brothers, off limits. Other than after that, do what you will. You know what I mean? So, real interesting topic. But as far as with Kobe's wife, yes, she is not pregnant, people. She is living her life happily. And she said that. So, you take that for what you want to take it for. But, she's, whatever that woman decides to do, bruh, she's exuded so much, triumph and strength and, like, just dope shit. She could do what she want to do at this point. She always could, but now she has entered that space of being able to do what she want to do without having to be judged, in my book. But who am I? With that being said, that will wrap up this week's episode of Elephant in the Room, episode 24, people. I want to thank you guys and give you guys so much praises for continuing to support me and stick with me through this trying time. Again, I apologize. I am completely under the weather. And if you can see this table I'm sitting at right now, it is like tissues and tea, coffee cups everywhere. Yeah, like it's bad, but I'm working through it and I'll be all right. It's not nothing I can't handle or deal with. But with that being said, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of Elephant in the Room. That will do it for this week. I will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, people. Please go check out my latest project, Gold Tape, which is currently out now. And after you check that out, go check out Scale Tape and This One's For You, Dad, which is my first album in a long time. And all three of them are masterpieces, people. Appreciate you guys. Continue to stay sucker free, stay safe, and continue to do what makes sense for you. With that being said, I'm signing off, people. See you guys next week for another week of Elephant in the Room. Appreciate you guys.